Market conditions, majority bullish here. S&P futures flat this morning at 64.72. We're seeing expansion on the daily time frame. A little bit of compression here on price activity, yet to really break into any new highs, but holding these upper ranges, which is still proving to be bullish. We've got wide expansion here on the weekly time frame as well. For S&P 500, we've got the breadth of the market, number of stocks above the 50-day moving average sitting at 63. That is majority bullish at 13. Got a little bit of a tick back down with that move the last couple of days. So not overly, not a huge amount of participation. We'd like to see that up in above 75 or so, and it gets up to extreme around that 80 range. Still bullish in momentum, but be watching that to see if we tick back down. Anything less than that 60 range. VIX holding a little bit of an increase this morning here, 16. I was going to say it's holding at 15, but 16. So feeling a little bit of that downturn right here this morning in VIX at 16, 10 and 4 on the trend condition indicator here for VIX. So there may be a little. Just a little bit of inkling right there of selling, at least this morning as of this moment. S&P 500 closed out last week at 14.0 and 14.0 on the weekly time frame as well. Dow Jones Industrial Average also 14.0, clearing this demand location. It was supply for quite some time, kind of hovering around in that range. Finally broke out of that and is now continuing to hold that range here as well. 14.0 on the weekly time frame. Triple Qs also bullish. 12 and 2, a little softening here in technology as we've got this upper range. What are we sitting right around 6? Let me come over here. 564 on a support level. That's a demand location for triple Qs. If we were to get a pullback, it's already bounced there a couple of different times, and we'll see if that does start to roll back down again. If so, that creates a lower high on the triple Qs and a little softening here on the upper end of the trend. Those are some clues. Those are some weakening clues right there. If we can't break or at least attempt a move towards a new high or an all-time high, and since we reached that level before, and you can see my dotted line, maybe it's just barely underneath that upper bar right there, and you can see there was resistance at that location. So you're getting some selling activity here on the triple Qs. Keep an eye on that one also. IWM, which is Russell 2000, pushing up into this supply block. Majority bullish at 14.0 on the daily and the weekly. It's been kind of chugging along here. Small caps trying to participate, and it's done so. In the last couple of weeks. We'll see if it can push it through that, or if we get rejected here as well, if that might be all we get without some kind of a retracement. But it's moving in the right direction, starting to fan out here also on the trend condition indicator. USO, let's take a look here. It had been finding support at the 50% range, still holding that range. 382 now is the upper end of that range. Just think of that as rungs in the ladder. Okay, as we break up above one of those, that typically becomes the new demand location. Okay, the bulls that were able to push it through a level will typically maintain that level or attempt to maintain that level. So we could see 74.84 around that range on USO as a new demand location. Majority bullish and compression here as well. That compression, remember, means that it's essentially a volatility indicator, and it's a way to be able to anticipate potential moves one way or the other. It becomes a decision point. Compression typically leads to expansion, and expansion leads to compression. So you know that when things are tight, they're not going to stay there forever. The question is, which direction are we going to be moving? And we can already see which direction we're starting to move. So that becomes the overall bias in terms of that price pattern. So we're starting to see that in oil here. Gold has had, here we go. We could be getting this breakout here in gold, 318. And is that connecting? That is connecting. So that's a new all-time high this morning on gold, and that long weekly time frame that's been watching for that breakout, that could start to happen. You're seeing, the overall trend condition. We're getting compression on the upper end of that. You can obviously see that it's starting to fan out. So this indicator's been doing a great job of doing its job, and that is long-term trends are down here at the bottom. Short-term trends are up here at the top. You get that compression, that consolidation. So you can quickly ask yourself, should I be buying into this pullback, or is it looking like a reversal? Well, if we were to go back to here and say that same thing, we'd say Man, this is a really nice looking pattern. It's compressing, it's moving to the upside. You've got compression here, but the overall long-term trend is up. And you can do the same thing just based on a different time frame. We've got an issue here that we're really wide. Okay, so if we're looking at that and it breaks out, and then sure enough that continued to expand higher, and now we're getting kind of a similar type of a formation here on gold. We'll see what we get out of this. The only real risk here is that we're already really expanded and really had a pretty nice run here in gold, but it could certainly go further at these levels. Dollar typically corresponding, weakening dollar at 14.0 on the negative side, majority bearish on daily and weekly for the dollar. Treasury, 2-year Treasury 362 and showing a little bit of weakness, already in a downtrend. Majority bearish on both of these now for weekly and daily time frame as we're getting softening in interest rates. 10-year, this had been holding steady here. It doesn't quite want to dip down as quickly. 423, and that's been relatively tight now for quite some time. Real compressed, majority bearish on rates. A couple stock ideas to consider this morning. You've got BABA, a nice looking confirmation bar. We've actually got a trade set up ready to go for that one today. Also, we're seeing AU, which is gold name as well, which would make sense. We're seeing continuation in gold, may see some continuation in some gold names as well. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.